Welcome back to the channel, guys. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about AC mini split systems, how much one costs, and how much money that they'll save you in the long run for utilities. So stay tuned. Welcome to the channel, everyone. I'm Kay the Guy, and on this channel I show you how to grow, fix, and build things around your home to help you around your household. So if you're new, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new episodes. So today we are inside because there is tons of smoke outside and I'm not going outside in those conditions. We have a lot of fires going on right now, and it's just horrible outside. It's not fun to be outside. So today we're filming inside, and we're talking about our AC system and how efficient it is at keeping us cool. So it's the middle of summer, and as you know, today is hot. Yesterday was hot. Tomorrow is gonna be hot. So when it comes to cooling down your house, there are several different options that you can have. You can have fans, you can have a forced air AC system, you can have a mini split system, you can have window or a movable fan type unit. But out of all those options, the most that I found to be the highest efficiency was a mini split system. Now, I've installed two different systems on my house before, and these systems aren't brand new. These systems are or have been around for a long time, specifically in Asia. You've probably seen a system like this anytime you've been to a hotel recently and you look just below the window and that big fan unit that's pushing the AC into the room. That's essentially a mini split system. You know, hotels have large expenses, those kinds of things. So, you know, it's kind of a wonder why hotels would use mini split systems for their individual rooms. And the main reason is that they're highly efficient. They're very compact. They have different types of fans that you could use in order to implement the air going into your home. You can kind of make it all your own. So I'm gonna briefly talk about how the mini split system works. So you have your indoor unit fan. The next component to that is the condenser, which is this outside fan, which that's what's taking that freon, the gas and the liquid, which is turning it into cool air. Or if you have the heat pump option on yours, you can actually flip that and turn it into hot air as well. There's also hoses that are involved in the component parts. So you have the large copper tube, you have the small copper tube, you have your drain tube, and you have your power wire. So briefly explained, what happens in your system is that for specifically cooling, your exterior outdoor fan is going to spin that fan and cool down the condenser in that unit, which is going to send that freon through the system, that cold freon through the system. It's going to go to the evaporator, which is on your unit, and as the air blows through that, you're going to get cool air. Now that same fan unit also sucks air in as well through the top, and as that air goes in, it actually collects the moisture through there, again conditioning the air, and then taking that excess water and draining it out through the drain tube. So you're getting air conditioned air, which is pulling the moisture out, pushing the cool air in, which is going through that system, and then it's in a constant circulation. So that freon's going from the fan unit through your lines all the way to the evaporator in the fan, blowing the cool air out, and then it's bringing that hot exchange from inside the room back to the fan in one continuous motion. That's briefly how that system works. Alright, so how do we install that system? So the first thing we have to do is figure out where we want to put our fans. So in our home here, we have two fans. We have both in the living areas of the house. It's going to be the area that we hang out in the most of. The space with the largest square footage, which is our living spaces. And so in this unit that we have an upstairs unit and we have a downstairs unit. both that connect to the condenser outside. Second, we have the condenser fan exterior outside. You want to make sure that it's in a secure place on the side of the house that's not going to get too much weeds or things growing around it. You want to make sure that everything stays clear of that fan, and then you also want to make sure that the fan has good access through the wall for your lines, your power, to make sure that everything, those power lines and your Freon tubes can connect to that outdoor unit, because that's what they need to exchange with. Which leads us to the next point, which is the hoses. We need hoses, which we need the large diameter hose, the small diameter hose, the power wire, as well as the drain tube. Now the drain tube goes from the fans themselves down into an area where water can drain, because it's literally going to be pulling moisture out of the air and draining that out of the system. So that's an important thing to note, where you're going to have your fans at. The second is the large and small diameter copper tubes, which are basically going to push the gas and then the liquid through the system in that circulation. Again, if you have one that has the option of a heat pump, all it does is reverse it in the opposite direction to give you heat instead of cooling. So you have your indoor evaporators, the wall-mounted fans put on the walls, and then you have your outdoor unit installed outside, and you have all your lines connected. Then you need basically most systems that you buy from like AC wholesalers or any other online company will have a pre-charged amount to that outdoor condenser fan. Now you do have to have a certified HVAC guy come out and go ahead and release that Freon into the system after everything's hooked up, and then they go ahead and measure, make sure that there's no leaks, and then they go ahead and make sure there's plenty of Freon for the amount of BTUs that your system is running, and then that way everything can cool efficiently and work properly. So as a quick recap, we have step 1, mounting our fans. Step 2, figuring out where to put our outdoor condenser fan. Step 3, which is hooking up our lines, hoses, and power wire. And then step 4, having a HVAC guy go ahead and set up everything to make sure that it's properly functioning. Sounds easy. It really is to a degree, but there's a fair amount of work involved to get everything mounted, to get all your hoses and lines going from outdoor to indoor. What I would suggest in most cases is to find a wall that already pairs to a really good spot outdoors. So if you have an area, maybe even in a kitchen, that you have space on a blank wall anywhere where you can go ahead and mount that fan and then just go straight out, down, and then put your fan outside, that would be the easiest way to install a unit like this. So getting down to the cost, our system on our first home that we had was a 1,100 square foot townhome, and that option of go ahead and setting up that system, which already had a electronic disconnect outside, which is where you junction your power for your outdoor unit, including the $100 cost to have the HVAC guy come out and inspect the system and then make sure everything was functioning properly, was about $2,000 for the entire setup. So relatively inexpensive. Now he had mentioned to me that if I were to have done that by a company, just paying retail, I probably would have paid close to $10,000 for it. So my ability to save myself about $8,000 by not paying that $10,000 and doing all that $2,000 worth of just purchasing the products and equipment and installing it myself saved a significant amount of money. Obviously, 80% of what a retail mini split installation would cost. And then you ask, so how much did it save you? So we had a window unit in our bedroom that was just pushing cold air into one room, and then we were pushing air out of that room into other rooms of the house, just kind of making that one do all the work. And we were spending over $300 in total electrical utilities month to month by having that indoor unit. Once we switched over to the mini split system, which by the way was an LG inverter system, and what I mean by inverter is that outdoor fan doesn't just have like a high on mode and an off mode. What it has is a regulated mode that spins based on demand. So that fan spins slow if it's a little warm, and then spins faster and faster the hotter it gets and the more demand that the AC system actually has. So it's super efficient. The difference between the window unit, which was over $300 a month, versus having that mini split system that provided air through the entire household, was less than $150 a month. So we saved, I would say, more than 50%, probably 60+% in total utilities by switching from a window unit to a mini split system that literally cooled the entire house down. So not only did we save a bunch of money, 80%, by doing it ourselves on the installation and buying it and allocating those unit ourselves, but we also saved over 60% in total utilities by making that system super efficient by cooling the house. All right, guys, well, the smoke outside is finally cleared and it's a beautiful day. So thanks, guys, for joining me. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more of our videos. We'll see you in the next one.